Alright, so I would really like to show you some of the UV stuff within Maya. Now, I don't initially do UVs in Maya within my workflow, so I'm going to share with you my workflow along with some of the things over here in the UVs. Right now, this is the UVs, and this UV window is right here. So you can see the UVs are a mess. And even if I went into create UVs, automatic mapping, what happens is it splits the shell like so much that it's pathetic, and then that makes it so I have to do projections, they're called. Now, what we're going to do is not do that, and we're going to look at an alternative to that, a way better alternative, and that's one of my second favorite programs outside of Maya, and that's Blender. So Blender can be downloaded, it's absolutely free. I have a whole series of Blender, so if you're unfamiliar with Blender or scared to death of Blender, you should watch those videos. They're at youtube.com/cannedmushrooms. But let's just take it from the top just for this workflow. And what I need to do is go onto the desktop of my computer and get the Fix Me object. And I want to show you something. Notice how the Fix Me object is not as cool looking in Blender. And that is because in Maya we take for granted the 1 and 3 on the keyboard. So here's the ugly item in Blender, and here's the awesome looking item within Maya. So if I Command D this, duplicate it, put this one to the side. If I want to keep these changes so they translate over to other programs, I have to go Mesh Smooth. And that allows me to see what it would look like after it's smooth. So this is the one that needs to be exported to Fix Me. And then I can go back into Blender. X on the keyboard is to delete in Blender, by the way. And File, Import the wavefront object, Desktop, Fix Me. I think the only thing I don't like about Blender is the ability to tile through your computer. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Other than that, I love the program. Okay, so just real quick, Alt middle mouse button allows you to rotate, Alt Shift allows you to do this, and Alt Control allows you to do this. So it's a lot of Alt. There's 2 buttons with Blender when there's only 1 with Maya. And if you like hold Alt and Shift and wheel mouse, it allows you to kind of do one of these or one of these if you hold Alt and Control. So there's a lot of stuff. It's very hotkey driven. So if you hate hotkeys, you'll hate Blender. But once you learn it, you'll love it. Okay, so right click on it will allow you to go to edit mode, and then I can quickly just go into edges. So here's the game plan, is to find edges that go all the way around the thing. And this edge right here, if I hold Alt and right click, sorry, it allows me to go all the way around the item, all the way up until right about there. Okay? So what I need to do is Control E, which allows me to mark a seam. And again, I can just rotate around real quickly, get to the back side of it, and Alt, and I need to cut it here. The idea here is to cut the piece into half. And with organic geometry, there's a different flow altogether, and in that flow you have to worry about making less seams as possible, because the texture flows across and you don't want those to get interrupted. With unorganic geometry, it's a little bit easier because you could just basically cut the item in half and be happy with it. So you'll get the hang of this with different items, like where to cut, how to cut, what looks better. but all that comes with a grain of salt if I actually tried to teach you it, because every item is different and everybody's got their own little philosophies on it. So Control E, mark seam. So the seams that I pick right here are because, you know, this gets cut in half, this gets cut in half, this gets cut in half, and then I know that if I just settled for that, it's not going to really look that good because of this thing right here. So I'm going to have to choose to say, well, I need something a little bit different for right in this area, so I'm going to have to put one more, and I'm going to choose where the actual material begins on it. That's another important point. Let's say this material is a little different than this material. Let's say the handle is made out of like a different kind of steel, and this is made out of a different kind of steel. What I would want to do there is say, well, if that's the case, I would want to cut it here, because that makes texturing a lot easier. Same with this thing at the top. I would say that's probably made out of a different metal, maybe a cap of some nature. So I'm going to choose to mark the seam there too. Alright, in the next video I'll show you how to unwrap it.